So real quick here, there was a big trade made today. Vikings are moving up, so they acquired a Texans pick. So the Vikings sit there at 11-23. So if you look at the value chart for a trade, the combination of picks 11 and 23 totals 603 points. The Patriots pick at number 3 is valued at 514. That's more than enough for them to move up to 3 if they want a quarterback.
Right.
And you are hesitant to take a quarterback. And you start looking at all this. If you make the decision, if you're Elliott Wolf, and you see the guy sitting there at 3 and say that guy's Drake May, and after all the homework that Groh and Pat Stewart did, and Cam Williams and all them, boy, there's not much drop-off to our 4th guy. If you could sit there at 3 on draft night and say, okay, the guy we wanted, Jaden Daniels, played out with me here. Jaden Daniels is off the board. He went to Washington at 2. We're sitting here. We got May there. Who's our 4th quarterback we got ranked? And what's the drop? Because if there isn't a big drop, phone's ringing. You could trade that pick to the Vikings if they're looking to get a quarterback, meaning May.
I mean, it's clear the Vikings are looking to get a quarterback. They are looking to move up.
The only reason I say that, because after that, after the New England pick, you have Arizona, who's paying $50 million a year for their quarterback. They're not going to get a quarterback. The Chargers are next. Guess what they want? They want a receiver to help Justin Herbert, who's making 50, 55 maybe. Giants are up next after that at 6. Daniel Jones is making $45 million. They ain't picking a guy. Followed by Tennessee at 7, maybe. Maybe Tennessee would jump on a guy there if they're not sold on Levis. But they just gave a boatload of money to this guy. But you would have control of the quarterback at cheaper money at 7. And then followed by Atlanta, who just gave Kirk Cousins $100 million guaranteed. They're not in it. Chicago's next at 9. They're going to get a tackle. Then it's the Jets with Aaron Rodgers, who's making 45, 50. And then you would pick at 11. You might be able to pick at 11 and trade with Minnesota, acquire another pick and another first rounder next year, and still get the 4th best quarterback on the board. You see what I'm saying? There's a bunch of teams between 3 and 11 that do not need a quarterback. And with a offensive tackle and wide receiver heavy type draft, those guys are going to be coming off the board there. Some people think
so. How do you know
that
picks? How do you know that picks 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 don't get traded to another team?
Well, that's what you got to worry about. If they do get traded, then now you're acquiring picks where you can trade back up. I mean, I don't know. Watch the Draft Day movie with Kevin Costner. He moves all over the damn board.
Yeah, because right behind that pick at 11,
right,
you've got Denver, you've got Vegas, you've got teams that need quarterbacks.
This is
that
where
could potentially move up without giving up as much.
So this doesn't seem like a big trade today, and I know Fred and Hardy hit the breaking news sounder because, and I said, what are you hitting breaking news? They're only trading up to get number 23, and then you start thinking about it. Okay, so this is where teams are starting to jockey for positioning. We're a month away from the draft. They now have 2 first-rounders. They have the ability to move up. And this is how the run starts. And the run starts on quarterbacks. Because as you mentioned, Denver's sitting there. Vegas is sitting there. Are they going to get up into the top 10? Does someone really reach and make a trade with Arizona to go get JJ? And holy crap, Penix might be going top 10. Who knows?
You want me to design a trade for the Patriots for this 11 and 23 for the Vikings?
Why don't you do it on the other side?
Well, no, I'll do it right now.
Right.
Give me 11. Give me 23. Give me your first next year, too.
I'll do it in a second. I said that to Fred and Hardy. Would you do that?
And you'd have 2 first-round picks this year and next year.
You're sliding back to 11 to acquire 3 first-rounders?
You know why I'm getting more open to the idea because I'm watching the Patriots punt on 2024. They apparently have no interest in being any good.
Imagine putting a kid in a huddle with this, right? See, this is where now.
Well, no, it's not about that. Well, what the hell? You just quit the whole thing. No half measures. If you're going to quit, you might as well quit all the way.
Well, if you're going to build it like Green Bay builds it, you draft. You build it through the draft, right? Tackle. Go get your tackle. If you've got a tackle sitting there, you think you get a tackle on the top.
And if someone gets drafted at 3. And if there's a franchise quarterback that gets drafted at 3 and proves it in the next 2 seasons,
then you
fire everybody involved.
You're getting fired. Yeah.
You don't give him 3 years. You just fire him after 2. You say, no, you screwed up. I don't care what the other picks turn into. You passed on a franchise quarterback, a guy that can change and alter the course of a franchise. And if you miss on that, that's an automatic firing. Goodbye.
Welcome to the NFL. Yep.
But Zoe, you said, I mean, if they feel like there's not that big of a drop off from May down to quarterback number 4, and you can get that guy and still get your tackle this year and still get an extra first rounder next year, that's
a no-brainer.
You can't pass that up.
This is where hesitancy factors in, and that's why I said you better have convictions that guy's your guy at 3 if you pick him, and he's your guy day 1. And I'm on that train, and if you believe that, I'll get behind that. Let's go. Let's get the kid up and running. But boy, if we're just not sure about the feet, and then that guy that's sniffing his heels right there at 4 isn't that much of a drop-off, we like him too, then you effing trade the pick and move back and acquire 3 ones. That's what you're doing, 11, 23, and next year's one. Done deal. Good job, Beetle.
You want to know what it looks like? That's what it's going to need to look like. I don't like it. I'm not rooting for that.
There should be 3 starters for you, though.